Let's go live. Here we are. Okay, and now I'll have to find the what the heck? The heck happened on this YouTube page? Why was everything highlighted? What did I do? Why? Why did I do that?
Welcome to a Night Wolf live stream where the first thing that happens is things go wrong.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Let's share it on Twitter because obviously, I gotta share it and let everybody know that we are live. Okay, that notification's been sent. Yeah, we don't need that. I don't want to put too many tabs up because who knows what my internet will do if that's the case. Okay, so hopefully I'm in a good enough position here. I really wish I had a better setup than this because I have to move the chair at least a little bit. There we go. Now I'm a bit closer to where I need to be to do the build stuff, so it's been a while since I've done that, huh?
It's the last thing I remember you building was something Gundam related, but I don't know if you did any more building streams.
I haven't done any recently, no. The last one we did was with this. This is what we had gotten done so far. We were working on the Infinite Justice, and it was, 5-year anniversary for the channel? And I thought it would be fun to...
something along those lines, yeah.
Do a live build and whatnot, but that might not be what I do the next time when I have some sort of milestone. Which, hey, if you're new here and you're coming on the stream afterwards, please subscribe. We could use it because we're closing in at 1,000, and if we do that, then we'll probably have a milestone stream of some kind. That one will be fun.
Also, that means that monetization is available, or it was the last I looked at the monetization rules.
If I remember correctly, 1,000 subs and a set amount of watch time, I think, can do the trick.
Yeah, I think that's the parameters.
Yeah, because it used to just be view count. And at bare minimum having 100 subs. So, but yeah. So, hello to whoever is watching the stream. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. My microphone is probably not near me because I'm much further away than I normally am. Hello, can everybody hear me properly?
I can hear you. I can't speak for the people of the stream, but I can hear you.
Turn up your volume. No. Clean your ears out, you morons. No, I'm kidding.
Clean your room.
I do need to clean my room. What are you talking about?
I was mostly evoking the Jordan Peterson meme, but
it's a sad truth. I do need to clean my room.
but it became reality in about the nanosecond that I thought of it. So.
Yep, because we were already talking about it before we jumped on the stream, and it's like, yeah. By the way, we're we're relevant to our topics, aren't we? It's like, my room's a disaster and a mess. Okay, cool. Let's see.
And
what else is new? Let's see. What am I looking for? E. I'm looking for an E. A, B, C, D, E. I found an E. E! And which one am I looking for? E10. Okay. What else are we looking for? Oh, that one's a completely separate thing. Okay. Oh, there's E10. I found it. So, Dalton, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Anything interesting happening in the wide world of geekdom that you wanted to talk about?
Not really at the exact moment. I mean, Black Widow came out Friday, but yep. I can't be arsed to care. So
yeah, I'm kind of the same. The one thing that was kind of irking me the most was, oh yeah, that's right, they changed Taskmaster. I'm like, oh joy.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess we'll never get a. I guess we'll never get a proper rendering of that character. It's a shame. Nah.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm in the mode where I'm just like, wake me when we like get to Shang-Chi and Eternals, where things that might interest me might happen. Maybe. I hope. Um,
One can hope, at least. Yes.
like I was really harsh on the teaser trailer of Shang-Chi because it didn't have anything in it that was relevant to Shang-Chi to me. But the
Right.
second trailer was much better. Still wasn't great. Like it wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't a Guardians 1 trailer or anything. But like um, it at least got me back on board to where I'm like, okay, they might not completely fuck this up. Um,
Right.
and I'm hoping the same thing happens with Eternals trailer 2 because that trailer also had the flaw of bland to a point that it almost made me want to weep. Um,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh my god, that was a terrible trailer. I was like, okay, wake me up when something interesting happens, please, for the love
yeah,
of God.
yeah, it's like okay, so we have one of Jack Kirby's weirdest IPs to adapt. What do we want to show the people to accurately portray the weirdness that is Jack Kirby? I know. Let's just have some vaguely pretty people standing in a field.
Yeah,
Because
that'll do it.
reason that that
That that,
that makes sense, right?
that
No.
works. That definitely works. That definitely is going to get butts and seats. I could see where they're going with it. It definitely
Yeah, no.
is
I'm
going
just
to
like,
work.
okay, yeah. When the neon colors start popping and the Celestials show up and like the weird quasi mythology starts happening, then you can let me know that we were doing Eternal, but not before. Seriously. Um,
Yeah.
Loki is on its fifth episode, which Loki's
Yeah.
fine. I wish it amounted to more, as with most of the Marvel shows, it seems, but who knows? Maybe you will have an inverse of WandaVision and like everything will happen at the last episode rather than everything being undone in the last episode.
Yeah, I don't know. It's well, how do I put this? I watched the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and I was like, meh. It was
Yeah.
okay. It was basic.
Another
It was relatively inoffensive, I guess you could say.
yeah, another thing that amounted to sweet fuck all.
Yeah, pretty
Um
much. That's how I would normally view it. Yeah, nothing really happened. Nothing of note, nothing of interest. Wake me when we get there.
yeah, I'm seriously just like, can we get to Spider-Man 3 trying to do Spider-Verse already? Or can we get to Doctor Strange 2, where hopefully like actual Doctor Strange related things will occur? Please.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Brandon Downey is here. Hello, Brandon. How are you? Have you guys seen Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise series yet, Wolf? I've watched half of it. I haven't gotten back to it yet. I should at some point, but I haven't gotten to around to it yet. But I was watching it for a time, and it was pretty good, considering how mediocre and bland the original Gundam Build Divers was. That was a breath of fresh air, to be quite honest with you.
Hmm.
Because that's how I view it. Is just it was the original Build Divers was boring and nothing happened. It was very disappointing.
I've never heard of that. Someone want to tell me what that is?
Okay, so let's see. The original Gundam Build Divers, or not
Oh,
Gundam.
it's a
It
part of
is
the Gundam.
Gundam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of the Gundam franchise. Well, there was the one that I believe I've told you about called Gundam Build Fighters. That one
Yes.
was awesome. It's basically, hey, what we're doing now, we're building a Gundam model kit, and you fight them in arenas, and it's actually pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
The first two series, which was Gundam Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, were pretty solid shows. I really liked the first one. Second one, not quite as much, but it was still pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, and then we got we got some specials for that one, and those were fine. There was like one called, I think it was what, GM Counterattack, I believe is what it was called. It was a movie and a series of short films, which were also fun. Where those were probably some of the funnest ones because they took the original Build Fighters cast of characters and whatnot and did fun little side projects with them, with their characters. One of them was, I think it was the first one. They took the main character, or they were basically showing off this special AI thing. I'm paraphrasing here, but they took a specialized AI that could pilot the model kits themselves, but they were programmed after characters in the Gundam series. So basically, they gave them the personalities of Gundam protagonists or antagonists, and they did, what was it? The first part of the fight was they took Char in a customized, I believe a customized Zaku 2. I believe that's what it was. It's been a while since I watched it, so you'll forgive me if I don't remember. And then they had a character from Gundam 00. What was it? Ribbons Allmark, that was his name. Ribbons Allmark, who was the antagonist for that show, the main antagonist. And they had them fight in a battle for a while. And it was the best type of fan service ever because the voice actors are very unique in the fact that both of them, or well, no, the unique thing was halfway through the fight or nearing the end of the fight, or during. Wait, no, it was during the fight. Char comments on the voice of Ribbons, and he's like, "You sound familiar to me," or something akin to that, where he's like, "Your voice, it sounds familiar. Why do you irritate me so much hearing that voice of yours?" And then, and nearing the end of the fight, the AI that is Ribbons switches to Amuro. And he's like, "Amuro, is that you?" And it's a fun little nod because the voice actor in Japan who played Ribbons, Allmark, was also Amuro. So it was like, I see what you did there. Very clever. I've seen the whole series and will not tell any spoilers to it if any of you have not seen it. Yeah, I haven't fully watched it yet. I'm planning to eventually. The last Gundam thing I focused on was watching Gundam Hathaway, which was awesome, by the way. I highly recommended. But if I must be honest, you should probably watch, if you haven't watched anything Gundam related, it's recommended that you probably hop on Netflix and watch all the other movies that they have there for Gundam before you watch Hathaway.
Oh, so there's a bunch of them on Netflix now?
Yeah, okay, so, because me and you were talking about this, Dalton, since you've never really checked out Gundam before, and I was recommending it to you.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, we need to figure out a way for you to watch this. And I think it was maybe about almost a year or so ago. I can't remember. You may have to remind me that I said, hey, the first 3 Gundam movies, which are based off of the anime itself, it's just condensed. I'm like, maybe since you've never tried it out before, maybe you should watch them. And then you can tell me your thoughts on the original series in a condensed format. But unfortunately...
So it's Gundam abridged, basically.
Yeah, it's an abridged version of the events of the original.
Yeah. Okay.
And... but we were going to watch it, because remember I said it was on YouTube, which means it's free, and you can just watch it whenever. Yeah. But then it was taken down by Gundam Info.
Because, of course.
well, I mean, it happens. Gundam Info does that sometimes. They tend to put things up, then take them down. It happens all the time. Um, but now, if you have Netflix, that trilogy of films are there to watch, along with Char's Counterattack. If you watch all four of those movies, you can then watch Gundam Hathaway and have clearer understanding of what Gundam Hathaway is, which is, I will say this, that's a visually stunning movie for Gundam. It's like I don't know if I'd say, is it visually stunning? I would say probably it looks even better than Gundam Thunderbolt did, and Gundam Thunderbolt wasn't that long ago, and it looked pretty damn good. And now we have Hathaway just coming in and saying, "Hold my beer. Let me one up you." And I was like,
Ah,
oh, "Okay, okay, yes, the one upping has begun." So, what are we doing? E12. Where are you, 12? Oh, there you are. Oh, goody, a very tiny piece. My favorite.
okay. So yes, I will have to watch those, and then we can do the um
Yeah,
thoughts of a Gundam noob stream.
sure. That's why I think I talked to you about it a few weeks ago. Um,
You did, and I just completely forgot.
well, I was going to follow up with you on it, but I just was occupied with things, and I'm like,
Yeah,
back to work and everything. So it's like I don't really have the time to talk
yeah.
to him right now.
Everyone appears to be busy with things lately. Like my birthday is in like 2.5 weeks,
Right?
and or actually no, it's almost exactly 2 weeks because my birthday is on a Sunday this year. Um, and we're remodeling my room that weekend. So my mom is putting me up in a hotel, and then remodeling my room, and then when I come back that Sunday, I'll have a whole new room
New.
set up, which is interesting. So that
Oh,
there's been a
that's
lot of
cool.
like planning and things for that.
Well, that's nice. Perfect time. Well timed event.
Yeah,
Just
it is. We've been remodeling the house like here and there and everywhere for a couple of years now, and
Oh
we're
yeah,
just
that's
now.
normally how remodels normally tend to go. Unless you've got the capital to do it all in one, it's normally a
Yeah,
process of knocking them out one at a time.
we're just now getting to my room mostly because with all of my things in my room, um, we have to be very careful about moving things in and out because of all the things. And also, when other people touch my things, I get anxiety because things tend to break when other people are involved with them, and that's one of the reasons why
Right.
my mom wanted to wait until my birthday so she had an excuse to get me out of the house so she can move things without me having a freaking panic attack every 5 minutes.
Right. Makes sense. It adds up. There we go. We're slowly getting to the head being fully built. That's good. Well, happy belated birthday to the authenticator. Thank
Early,
you. Thank
but
you, Brendan.
thank you.
Yeah.
July 25th is my birthday.
July 25th. Oh. Well, okay. Now, what else we got going on here? Oh, yeah. Where's the sticker sheet? I don't want to really use the stick. I don't hate the sticker sheet, but I need to find the appropriate sticker sheet here. Because without it, the Gundam will not have eyeballs. And I'm not going to paint it right now.
Eyes are kind of important.
Oh, yeah, it's in a. I think there's some, like, dark or dry transfill for decals in here, too. So those are important. But, But yeah, I actually watched the Gundam Hathaway movie and I was like, oh yeah, this was the good stuff. It's sad that it was so dang brief. It's a trilogy. And I'm like, oh man, I wanted to see more. And now I have to wait. And because of COVID, it was delayed. And I'm like, meh.
Curse you, arbitrary life circumstances.
Yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, it happens. But but it was still a good movie. That's the part I will say. It was
Hmm.
a lot of fun, and I have to desperately try to set these eyes as best I can. Okay, there we go. Ah, nope, that's not it. We're getting there. It takes a bit of effort. This is normally why they recommend painting, because stickers are a pain in the goddamn ass.
Uh-huh.
But I don't paint all that much. So,
Uh-huh.
okay. So, now let's see what are we doing here.
Whoa.
Is that how it works? Interesting. Hopefully that's how it's supposed to look. I don't know. I have no clue. I have no idea. And I might need these for the cameras. But let's see. Um Hey Wolf, did you get the Gundam Battle Gunpla Warfare game for mobile? I tried it for a while and I lost interest. That's just my honest opinion. That was a game that I wanted to like for mobile, but it was it was okay. Was not groundbreaking. Did not wow me. And
At least it
besides,
was.
if go
At
ahead.
least at least it wasn't Diablo for mobile.
Fair point. Fair point. Um Wait, that's where that goes? Uh okay, well, I know
Wait, was
that.
it Diablo or was it Devil May Cry that got everyone in a tizzy because
I think it
the,
was
the
Diablo.
production company was being stupid? I think it was Diablo, but I might be.
Yeah, it was Blizzard. They pissed off everybody. It was that one where it's like, what? You guys not have phones? Yeah, that. I was like,
Yeah, but we come to big, you know, big elaborate gaming conferences for like the highest tech of the highest tech. Otherwise, we could just do it at home.
exactly. Um, Actually, you know what? Let's take care. Let's knock the stickers out, so then I don't have to worry about it for a while. Still wouldn't mind being able to paint these cameras at some point, but let's see. Which ones are we? Eh? Well, that's an interesting position for the camera. Which one is it, though? Oh, that's going to be a pain in the neck. I can already tell.
Hmm.
I'm grabbing this sticker, and it's all like, one, it's already pretty tiny, and two, it's in an awkward position where I will not have any control over where I can place it. Eh, my hands. Okay, there we go. I think I've got it in a good position now. What about Sword Art Online Alicization realizing Steel from mobile? Your thoughts on it? Never played it. Next question.
No, next question.
No, yet. Next question. I've actually never played it. I'm serious. Um, I don't hate Sword Art Online them as much as I used to, but I also don't care enough about it. So I mean, some of it is cool. I do think that Alicization was the best one we've gotten so far, because the other ones were just such disappointments and letdowns. If anybody wants to know what mobile games I tend to play, the one I play the most is just Azur Lane. Okay, there's your answer.
I don't really play mobile games all that much. I used to, but for some reason I got out of the habit of. I have a bunch
Uh,
of mobile games on my phone that I still like haven't bothered to either play or just delete from my phone.
yeah. Yeah, I play them and I try out a bunch of them. Every time when a new one comes out, I give it a shot. Right now, the only newer one that I've been playing and trying out is one called Princess Connect.
Hmm.
But that's just because it has cute anime girls on it, so that's why
Aha.
I'm
Always a
simple and
decent
easy.
reason for things.
I'm easy to please, aren't I? But yeah, that was the one I've been playing the most. I tried a couple others that have been fairly recent. I tried the what was it? My Hero Academia Mightiest Hero. That game sucked. I like the attempt, but it was not optimized at all. It does not play well. At least in its current state, it did not play well. So I tried to make an action game, which, for a My Hero game, it's like, oh, that makes sense. My Hero Academia, superheroes, action,
Right.
makes sense. Let's do that, and put it in mobile form so everybody can play it. But like, just everything about it was just rubbing me the wrong way. Tried it for about what was it? About a month. Well, not even a month. I tried it for like maybe 2 weeks, and then I was like, "Up, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. I've lost interest."
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Uh, what about the series? You're telling me, Wolf, it sucks. What are we referring to? Are we referring to Sword Art Online, or are we referring to the My Hero Academia game I just was talking about? Because that, yes, definitely sucks. It was not as fun as I was hoping it would be.
Shame.
But if you're referring to Sword Art Online, I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I don't care for it as much as others do. I also think that the writer is. I wouldn't say he's a bad writer. I would just say that he um, needs to work on compelling villains more because his villains tend to suck.
Aha.
Yeah. Oh, the My Hero Academia game. Yeah, it was. It's fine, but I hated the UI most of all because it was a mess and I hated it. It was hard to
Yeah,
navigate.
that seems to be a problem with a lot of mobile games, is the UI just craps out.
Well, it's not the UI crapping out, it's the UI being a cluttered mess. If
Hmm.
you can't find where things are, if you can't navigate it easily,
Then how are you supposed to freaking play the game?
yeah, exactly, or to do it effectively. And
Mhm.
that's pretty much the reason why I got tired of it. It was like the UI is terrible.
Mm.
Um, I mean the gameplay is relatively okay. I wouldn't say it's the worst I've ever seen, but it's also not the best either. So take it or leave it.
Mhm.
But yeah. But if we're talking about the apparently he was referring to the My Hero Academia game. I mean, if you want to give it a try, you can. I mean, that's the great thing with mobile games. They're free. Don't just take, my word for it. If you're interested in it, give it a shot yourself, see if you like it, and if you do and you have fun with it, then more power to you. Right?
Right. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I can't stop yawning.
Did you not sleep well?
I
Part two.
ended up waking up a couple of times in the night.
Ah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That will definitely do it.
And I
Well, at
also
least
went to bed a little later than I should have, which led to me getting up later than I should have, which
right.
led to me forcing myself out of bed when I was still kind of tired, so that probably did it.
That tends to happen. Eh. But what was it? Series SAO Alicization War of the Underworld Part 2 was good at some parts. Yeah. I haven't watched all of it Alicization yet. It was pretty good from what I have watched of it.
Mm.
I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And at least he limited the main villain to not be the same one that he's had for the last 2 or 3 movies or series, I would say. Because he loves to do, he was making it way too much of a habit. I don't like it when you can't come up with a better idea for your villains, but do the same thing on repeat for like 2 to 3 seasons, and it's like, okay,
What was you repeating?
what was he repeating? Very rapey gentlemen.
Ah,
They were evil, and the only way he could compel people to this evil is naughty things, sexual assault and rape. And now I know I won't be monetized.
yep.
Don't
Th-
ban me, YouTube. I am just commenting on what about a
th-
series.
this stream is dead because you said the dreaded R word.
Yeah.
So we're doomed.
But yeah, the writer does have that propensity to do that. He did that with the original. Well, let's see. He had probably one of the most interesting. I wouldn't even say villain, but antagonist for the first part of the first season of Sword Art Online. It was literally the brilliant because it's like you're stuck in a video game world, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. And you're trapped there not because of a glitch or because the program failed. It's because its original creator trapped you there. It's like, okay, interesting start, interesting premise. Why did he do that? Is there a reason? And you don't really get to know anything about it because he's basically just like says it in like the first episode. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're all stuck here. Oh, also by the way, you're going to look exactly how you look like in the real world. Congratulations, any of you pretending to be girls are no longer girls, and things of that nature. And then basically just pisses off afterwards, and you don't see him at all. And then everyone's just stuck in the world, trying to survive and not die. And
Okay.
many players do die.
That seems overly convoluted to a stupid degree, but okay.
Well, it's convoluted, yes, but at least it's slightly clever. Because it's like most of the times when I've ever seen the whole "you're trapped in the game" thing, and if you die in it, you die in real life. The only one I remember is Dot Hack, which was really good. But that one was caused by the program itself, not by its creator. So the people who made the game weren't intentionally trying to trap people. At least from what I remember of that story. But it was still interesting in that regard.
Wasn't that part of the premise of Spy Kids 3? Was the
Yeah,
guy in the game that's trying to trap people in the game?
yeah, that was part of that premise too.
That takes me back to like 2003, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, there we go. But yeah, but in SAO, basically the character by the name of Kayaba, who was the original game's designer and whatnot, he decided to trap everybody there. But it's like, why would you do that? Why would you trap them, and why would you want them all to die or to potentially be killed in game? And it isn't until the end of that first arc you find that his reasoning is kind of revealed, but also not really explained. It's half like explained. He's like, I built this world and I love this world and I wanted people to live in it. I didn't want them to leave. I think that was kind of a rough estimation of his explanation for why he did it. Although maybe
Okay,
don't
so it
keep the
wasn't
permadeath in it, but
it wasn't mustache twirling villain.
No, he wasn't like doing
motivation.
it for the sake of evil. He loved what he had made, and he kind of just wanted to, keep it up. But then, and the story ends there, or it ends with Kirito waking up and us, and trying to find Asuna.
Is the permadeath thing ever explained? Because if
They
I were
basically
designed
die of a brain. I think they die of a brain hemorrhage.
to be,
I believe
let's
is what.
let's make people immortal. That's certainly a selling point. Like, come to my digital world and you'll effectively be immortal.
Yeah, I I think that was kind of how it was explained. I don't remember the exact
Uh,
particulars. You okay, Dalton? Dalton seems to have frozen. Uh-oh. Last series of SEO, Underworld 2 was good at some parts. Let's see. Out of characters of SEO allocization, who are your guys' favorites? You back? Oh. Oh, nope. He's gone. Maybe he'll try to come back later. Okay. Out of the SAO characters in that game, in that series, who would I pick? I think if I had a choice of favorite character in that, I would probably go with Alice. I actually like Alice quite a bit, actually. I think she's pretty cool of a character. Oh, welcome back.
yeah, my internet was being dumb.
That
Or
happens.
your internet and my internet were having an argument.
Is that
I
how it
don't know.
works?
I don't know which it was, whether it was on your end, my end, or some bastardized
Oh,
combination of the two. But
yeah, well, it happens. Okay, so. What? But anyway, yeah, the person is. Was like. What were we talking about? Help fill me in, Dalton, because I can't remember. I kind of forgot.
I think that um one of the viewers had asked which of your favorite characters of.
For SAO?
Hmm?
Yeah. Well, for that one, for Alicization, it's Alice. Because I think she's the best character in that show.
Aha.
That one is probably the. I think it's basically the creator has kind of. I wouldn't say he's gotten rid of all of his, weird writing behaviors or anything, but I think he's refined it to a point
Hmm.
to where
He's
it's a bit.
he's learning.
Yeah, he's definitely learning a bit more, and he's definitely gotten a bit better at what he does. But
Hmm.
and is that not how that fits? I guess that's not how that fits. The sticker. God damn it. Curse you, Gundam, and your Bandai, and your need to use stickers. I curse you to the grave. You know what? I may just rip this whole sticker off if that's how you're going to be. um, but yeah. How do you stick this thing in the thing? Okay, the sticker is literally falling apart. Okay, you know what? Screw the sticker. Don't need it. I can always paint a light blue color on it later. Get off.
You're called a sticker. You have one job. Your job is to stick to things.
Yes. No, I'm just trying to fit this. That's how it fits. Okay, got it. Interesting. All these weird angles on the Infinite Justice are weird. Well, I don't even think Dalton has even watched Sword Art Online, so you may be asked. I don't
Yeah,
even know if I
I
can even answer
am.
any of your questions.
I've heard of it, and people have like told me things when I've asked about it. But like other than that, I'm pretty um pretty much a noob in regards to this.
Yeah. But favorite fight scenes. I'm trying to think if I could even remember any of the fight scenes. Because it's been a while since I actually watched part of it. I didn't even finish it. I only watched like half of it. There were some pretty cool fights. What was it? I think it was like Kirito versus what is his name? He's the blonde character. He's the one that people call blonde Kirito. That's the nickname I'm gonna go with. Wait, no, I think his name is Eugene. I believe. Um, but yeah, Kirito and him fighting that was pretty cool. I think there's also that fight with that knight that shoots fire arrows. That was pretty awesome. I like that. It's like this is a stream where where I'm building a Gundam and yet I'm talking about Sao. What is my life right now? Ain't that
Comedy
it?
of errors. That seems to be the most consistent answer I can come up with when people ask, "What is my life?" A comedy of errors. That's what most people's lives end up being.
I think
But
actually I need
like the
to.
it's like the Rick and Morty meme. What is my purpose? You pass butter. Oh my god.
Ah.
Whoever runs the universe is hopefully getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, but also has a very sadistic sense of humor.
They might. I don't think so, but mine is Kirito versus Quinla. I don't know who Quinla is. I don't recognize that name. Um, but feel free to tell me. Um, so okay, almost done with the head. That's pretty cool. And we've only been going for 40 minutes. Hey, I'm making.
We're starting to get ahead.
Very clever. A plus.
I had to. It was inevitable.
Puns. Hooray. Uh, but what was it? But yeah, I've actually there are some things I need to do. There's a Gundam movie that's sitting on my behind my near my TV that I need to finish, so I can finish all the Gundam 00 stuff that I've had now for several months. I need to actually finish watching the movie. I haven't done that yet.
Hmm.
E11. Where are you, 11? Ah, there you are. 11. Oh boy. Tiny piece. Not that tiny, but tiny enough. So I need to be sure that I don't cut it and then drop it on the floor.
That would be kind of important, yes.
Yes. But yeah, but it's cool that Netflix now has a lot of Gundam stuff to check out.
Hmm. Netflix is no slouch when it comes to anime. There's a lot of anime they have on there.
Yeah, I've been noticing they've been they've been grabbing a lot of stuff.
And then of course they make quite a lot too. Like I just a couple weeks ago was watching that new like um like Filipino or Hispanic culture one called Trece, and that's really good actually. Um,
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that. But here we go. There's a head. If it will stay up.
Uh-huh.
So we now have a head and a body. Let's gonna put.
Now the task becomes putting them together in such a way as that it makes sense.
That's not that difficult for me.
Mhm.
I've done this for quite a few years, and I know what I'm doing.
Mm.
Mostly, see, I know how to do this. Actually, this is the first time I've built a master grade Gundam, but I
Mhm.
kind of, since I know so much about the high grade ones, it's not that hard for me to just adapt to doing the master grade. So
Uh,
there's that.
mhm.
Let's see. Actually, what was it? I have seen some kind of funny articles that had to do with the Gundam Hathaway movie. That was kind of funny, and
Mm.
it got me to chuckle because I'm like, you guys are stupid.
Mm.
But what was it? Okay, so we got wow, there's a lot of pieces on this runner. Can I find the one that's labeled 12? There it is. I found it. Finally.
Mm.
Um but we got, yeah, there was like a couple. One was from Anime News Network. That one was kind of funny because they said like, because it basically was implying that the fan base hates Yoshiyuki Tomino for some reason. I'm like, no. I don't even hate him. I think he's weird and crazy and kooky sometimes because he's an old man and I don't think he fully understands what he's doing sometimes.
Mhm.
But I think he's an overall good creator most of the time. Sure, he's made some stuff. The only thing from Gundam that I've watched of his that I don't understand or get and or like was the one called Reconquista NG, and that one was just like, one, it's a mouthful, and two, it made no goddamn sense to me.
Mm.
Because it was basically like Gundam the Lightning Round. Let's just shove as many things as possible at your face in the span of only a few episodes and hope you caught everything. And I'm like,
Mm.
no, that's not how that works. I
Mm.
need more time to process all the things you're telling me that are important.
Mm.
And also, toilets and mobile suits also bugged me.
Mhm.
I was that was kind of just the part where I noped out of it entirely. I'm like, no, no, no.
Mm.
I don't need to know where the pilots go to the bathroom. That's too much.
I
Uh,
declare this shall be. Nope.
yeah, I mean, I think I've talked with Jonah about it, and he's argued with me about it. He's like, but we need to know. It's like, no, we don't
Well,
need to
I
know.
mean, from like a practical, logical standpoint, it is a little bit odd, but at the same time, it's like it's like when there's a bathroom scene in a movie. It's just sort of like this is this is literally the purpose of editing. There really doesn't need to be a bathroom scene in any movie ever because we can all just collectively assume that they do that off screen.
Yeah,
It's why off screen exists for stuff like that.
it's like, does Superman go to the bathroom? Well, no freaking duh. He probably does. If
But
he
I
eats food,
really don't want to think about that
yeah,
ever.
exactly. It's like we don't want to know, or we don't want to see it. Do we know it exists? Yes, congratulations. But we don't
I
want to
mean,
see it.
if we really want to play the ball where it lies on that one, like there are logical questions of like how does he go to the bathroom without breaking the toilet constantly? But that's a bit far afield even from my level of curiosity.
Exactly. I'm like, there's just certain things where it's like, okay, I just did not need to know that. And that was the part of Jiriko I didn't like. Why was this important to tell me or to show? I'd really like to know. It's like, yes, I'm fairly certain that Gundam pilots go to the bathroom. They're human after all. I would expect that.
but that doesn't imply any needs to like.
Tell me where they go.
I mean, explaining the technology of how they can is one thing, but like
But you
apart,
don't need to show it. That's the part. You
it's sort of like that old Fairly Odd Parents joke of like of like uh astronauts going to the bathroom in their suits. It's like, well, that's interesting for like 5 seconds. I could have gone my entire life without knowing that, and my life would not be negatively impacted.
yeah, it's well, yeah, and I mean in the Gundam franchise, we're talking about people who are out in space and whatnot for extended periods of time and whatnot. So it's like, well, yes, obviously they go to the bathroom. More than likely, if you're a pilot and you're on patrol and whatnot, more than likely, I don't know, you're probably pissing or pooping in your suit.
Yeah, there's probably a mechanism for that, just like there's a mechanism for real world astronauts doing that. That would make
Yeah,
sense,
it doesn't need
considering
to
that
be
like
built into the war machine. It doesn't make sense that it's built into the war machine.
yeah, unless you are Professor Finbar Calabitus, this is not useful information for the audience.
Nope. But it's there. And I remember I showed that to Nerd Wonder, and she's like, "What the fresh hell are you? Why?" I'm like, "I don't know. Tamino is weird.
Because people
He's
apparently don't
weird.
understand the purpose of the off-screen concept. This is
Tamino
like
is
based.
odd sometimes."
This is like um off-screen 101. Put things off-screen that you do not need to show your characters doing or would be mildly disturbing to see your characters doing that aren't
Yep.
relevant to the plot.
Yep. But he did, and he did it at least twice in the same episode. I was like, "Yes, we really needed to see this. This was actually
Wait,
pertinent
wait, wait!
information."
Wait! It happens twice?
He shows it twice. Yes.
Why? Why?
I don't know. He, like I
Like I
said,
could I could even see doing it just the once to like for completeness of world building and whatever, but like twice in the one episode, I don't. Why?
well, because they needed to embarrass the main protagonist. That's why.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, the first time they do it, they don't really show the person fully going to the bathroom. They just show him kind of like throwing something down a toilet chute. And then the next time they do it, they're all like, okay, and now that we've done this, now that we've established that there's a toilet in the mobile suit, we have to have a scene where the main character is in the cockpit with a couple of the female characters and he has to use the bathroom.
okay, but no,
I
no. Like
know.
that first scene you described of like just throwing something down the toilet chute, that would have been more than enough in most circumstances. But again, I get it for completeness of world building and for logical consistency's sake. Maybe occasionally one scene, but like
Like
no.
I like I said, Tomino is a bizarre one. That's the best. That's one of his eccentric charms is that he's odd sometimes, and he does things that is very weird and sometimes confusing. But the fact that Anime News Network made it sound like Tomino's work is outdated or something, or that it doesn't work, I'm like, no, it works. You guys just don't freaking like it. That's the difference.
It's just a little nuts.
He's just a bit cuckoo cabana. That's the thing we have to take away from it is that he's just a little oddball, and that's okay. We like his oddball nature. Without it, we would not have gotten some funny things in Gundam. Some of which don't make a whole lot of sense, but you know what? They're there, and they're there for us to laugh at.
Mhm.
And there's also there for us to scratch our head like, what the fresh hell were you thinking? Were you
Why
smoking something that day? Were you high?
was it like the third? Was it like the third cycle in the writers' room, and you were just like, "Fuck it"? Like, had you gone 36 hours without sleep or something, it was just like, I don't care. I just want to go to bed. Fuck off.
Some of his stuff is a bit bizarre and a bit out there. I mean, the whole concept of like new types and whatnot in the Gundam universe was a bit of a crazy idea from the get go, because you're trying to make something like a very serious war drama and whatnot. And now all of a sudden, space psychics. Okay, cool.
All
Why are
right.
they here? It's like, okay, we got you, Tomino. You're a little bit cuckoo cabana, but that's why we love you.
I mean, space psychic sounds pretty cool to me. So
It is cool
it
in
gets
its
my
own.
vote.
It is cool in its own way. It was a thing where they. Okay, so you're talking about the fact that most of Earth's population has migrated to space, or at least a good majority of
Hmm.
them. And then you have this person from side 3, which is where the bad guys eventually come from, Xeon,
Uh-huh.
and their leader before he was assassinated was talking about new types or the potential of the humans evolving into a better species. So they're saying like, hey,
So evolution for the win.
kind of, yeah, where he's talking about, oh hey, that humanity is being burdened by Earth and is putting a burden on Earth itself, and they need to come to space, and then also fighting against the Earth Federation and what it's doing of not giving autonomy to the space colonies. On top of that, and yeah, you get a pretty cool story. Where the fresh? Oh, there's 10. I was looking
So
for the.
that's the dice roll you get when this person is writing. When he's good, you get space psychics. When he's bad, you get toilet
Toilets.
scene for no reason.
I don't know
Okay.
if there was no reason, but you get some odd and kooky things sometimes with Tomino. Some of it's really good, and some of it's very like head scratching. Like, why?
Roll of the
That's
dice, man. Roll of the dice.
yep, pretty much. But that
This
does
is what
that's not a
happens
knock.
when an artist. This is what happens when an artist hits a natural 20, and this is what happens when same artist rolls a natural one.
Yep, pretty much. How do what? Um, am I doing this wrong? Uh, okay. Yeah, Quinlan is the administrator in the underworld. Okay. Uh, yeah, that was interesting. The administrator. The oh, did I cut off the wrong piece, didn't I? I did. I cut off
Oh
the wrong
no.
piece. That's the problem here because it doesn't match. I cut the piece for the other arm and not the one I'm working on. That explains it all, doesn't it? So now I
A
have
bit.
to cut that piece. But yeah, like I could maybe pull up the article. Like one of the comments that they made in that article from Anime News Network was that this the Hathaway movie is darker than most of Tomino's work. I'm like, well, yes, but it's not like it's the darkest thing he's ever written or directed. I'm like, have you seen what he's done before? Any of the other Gundam stuff that he's worked on, I can tell you from experience that yeah, there's a good amount of it that's kind of dark and kind of messed up. And I mean, Victory Gundam exists, and he was going through a form of depression at that time. He was upset, and he was angry, and basically his mentality of killing off characters like he did in Zeta Gundam was just like elevated to the next logical level of like, you know what?
Therapy through art, basically.
Kind of. He's like, you know what? Screw it. Everybody die. He went from let's. I believe that's why he got that. What's that nickname? He has a nickname sometimes by some of the community. I believe they call him Kill 'em All Tomino. As funny as
Ah,
that might sound.
hmm.
Uh, how do you?
Well, I mean, we all have those days. We all have those days where it's like, yeah, maybe Dracula from Castlevania didn't do anything wrong. Or, well, I do. I don't. I don't know what normal people think, but that's. I regularly have those moments of like, was Dracula really doing anything wrong in Castlevania though? Just kind of culling the herd that is humanity.
Was he really the bad guy? Was he really that evil and twisted and messed up? Nah, he's justified.
Well, I mean, he was grieving the loss of his wife. He never did anything he did out of pure just mustache twirling villainy. It was always just, you people did this horrible, horrible thing to the only person I ever loved. So now collectively, fuck all of y'all. That was
Yep.
that was mostly the rationale.
Yep. Let's see. What was I thinking? I've mixed up all my parts here. E3. Oh, there it is. But I could maybe pop up the article and like read parts of it. Maybe I'll do that because that might be fun to talk about. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just let me cut a piece off the runner and let me look that up real quick. Da, 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 da. Anime News Network. Ah, crap. Anime News Network. Gundam. Hathaway. There we go. Da, 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 da. Um. Wow. Oh, really? Okay. Let's see. What do we get? That's not what I wanted. I wanted the article that the person did a review on. Um. Is this the one? Da, 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 da. I don't feel like this is the same one that I remember seeing. Da, 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 da. If only I could remember what I've been posting about the last few days. Jesus. Um, let's see. Let me go to my Twitter. That might actually help me find it.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Uh, okay, yeah, this was. Um, no, yeah, no. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, I just have this thread on my post. Let's see what I have here. I need some water actually before I do this.
Mm-hmm.
I was admittedly a bit apprehensive about this because of that. For those of you unaware, Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway is actually based on a trilogy of light novels written by Tomino himself in 1989, and many fans don't really seem to regard them well. Raw, undiluted Tomino is not really something a lot of people can vibe with, and for many, it risked this first film coming out totally dated, among other things. Um, that's kind of the funniest thing about this is saying that fans don't regard this story very well, and I'm all like, wait, hold on, because all the people I've ever seen online who've talked about Gundam Hathaway absolutely love Gundam Hathaway. That's what I've been told by pretty much everybody.
Is this one of those cases of the journalist saying the things they wish were true instead of the things that are actually true?
I
Because
believe
we
that I believe that could be what it is.
because we've all been on the receiving end of the "I know what's going on in your head better than you do, and don't you dare tell me I'm wrong" approach. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, that seems to be kind of the case where they seem to be saying that yeah, that Tomino or that the fans don't regard it that well. I'm like, well, no.
the people we consider fans, because we are the arbiters of who fans are, don't like it. Therefore, fans don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, that's not it. Because yeah, like everybody who I ever talked to about Gundam and whatnot, and they talk about some of the other Gundam stuff out there, like Hathaway, or stuff, basically the stuff that we didn't get here in the West,
Mm.
which is a lot. Like a lot of the supplemental extra material that's out there, because we don't have it. And everybody's like raves about half this stuff. They talk about it in a way of like pure unadulterated love for it. Like this is like, no, this is the good shit. We need it here, and you should go and read it. Like I remember people talking about Gundam Crossbone, like saying like, dude, we need this. We want to see more of this. We want an anime adaptation of this. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm down for it. I'm down for mostly anything that's Gundam related. So if they can provide me with some cool Gundam stuff in the end, I'm down for it. And the fact that this Anime News Network article says no, the fans don't like this or don't regard it very well. I'm like, no, you're wrong.
And this is the kind of
Oh
thing
no,
that
my connection.
leads to the inevitable anime gate, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy. I won't get involved in that crap hole. I already got involved with one too many.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with anime is I think anime is mostly immune to this kind of crap. It's just like certain journalists in the West that are like this because like
Yeah.
the good thing about anime being from Japan is they can tell Western standards to fuck off as and when Western standards are wrongheaded and dumb. Um,
Yeah.
and also, ironically enough, there's a high preponderance of people who are fans of anime who are SJWs, and that leads to them being more protective of it than they are of Western media.
Yeah, that can happen.
So it may be a case of like, given the choice between their arbitrary moral dynamics and their anime, they might make the correct choice and choose the anime. Um, which leads to me pointing out the hypocrisy of like, if you can do that with your favorite thing, why can't other fans of other things do that with their thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And then people's heads explode, which is fun.
yeah. Let's see. Let me see what else was here because there was some others. Let's see. Let's see next part. Yeah. Actually, let's go for the comment that had to do. Uh, let's see. Yeah, this one. Hathaway as a film is most interesting to me as an attempt to turn the universal century conflict into a moody political thriller, ditching the kid-oriented aspects of the original series for more blood and grit, except that not anywhere near a straightforward transition because at its heart, this is still something Tomino wrote, and he's such a singularly bizarre writer. Well, we've already established, yes, he's a weird writer. But this type of
Yeah.
stuff has always been in Gundam. It's been there since the start. Political thriller, check. Conflict and moody, check. It is kid oriented, because it was marketed for that because it's the
But
only way they
also
could sell toys.
the line in Japan between like for kids and general audiences is more blurry than it is over here. So it's
Yeah, it's
not like
very
there's
different.
it's
Yeah,
is why it's why the most popular like subcategory of things is shonen, because that's supposed to appeal to mostly like pre-pubescent and pubescent boys, but everyone kind of likes it.
yeah, yep,
Kind
pretty
of like what
much.
comics used to be before they were co-opted. But never mind.
But yeah, this idea that that Tomino's work was never dark or gritty. I mean, I'll give him this. There is far more blood in this than there ever was in some of Tomino's earlier work that involved Gundam.
Hmm.
But it's
It's a little bit like people recently complaining about like all the gender flipping and stuff in the upcoming Netflix Sandman series, and I'm just like, have you not read Game of You? Because that was like the entirety of Game of You back in the day.
yeah. Let's. I'm gonna look something up here. If I can find like images that would be very very um that's those are not actually the images I was hoping for, but I can go over like the deaths of characters, and some of them are not pleasant. You know, uh, Rio from the original Gundam. He's one of the first characters that we meet. He's one of the most supporting characters in the show. He helps Amuro a lot, and he died partway through the show. He was killed. Uh, yeah, he was protecting uh yeah, she was or he was protecting Amuro and White Base, and he rammed his ship into Hammond's ship to stop them from attacking Amuro. And yeah, that was one of the first deaths in the series. Or what about the death of Garmazabi? There's another one that I absolutely love, mainly just because it's one of the things that got me to really like Char as a character, as an antagonist, because it's like the trick with him is that what is the relationship he has with Garma. They're both they both work for the same military faction. Garma is the I guess you could say the kind of prince of the Principality of Zeon. He's the face that everybody loves for
Haha.
this enemy faction. They absolutely
The golden boy, basically.
yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't have the military rank or authority that his other siblings do because he has three other siblings. His older siblings, Cassilia, Girin, and Dozel, have like military accomplishments, and Giran is also basically the the mouthpiece of Xeon. So he's got the authority. Although their father is supposed to be the king, but Giran's the one who kind of pulls most of the strings because their father is really old and not capable of doing much. But
Uh-huh.
they genuinely love. But Xeon loves Garma, and
He's the public relations face. He's
yeah,
Pink Diamond essentially to make a
yeah,
Steven Universe reference.
he's a important character. And when him and Char meet up and you're watching them interact with one another, they make it sound like they're best friends. Like him and Char have been together for a long time. They know each other. They work well together. And then the betrayal happens.
Uh-huh.
Char betrays Garma, and it's a surprise, and it's a shock. And it's like,
Uh,
why would Char do this? Why does the masked man hate this man enough to be willing to sacrifice him? And then, well, it's the line that Char says. It's that, I'm sorry, you were my friend.
mhm.
Don't blame me, blame this on your birth. And that's because Char is, well, because I mentioned earlier about the political assassination of Xeon's main leader before the Xeon Principality was founded.
Right,
And
right,
yeah,
yeah.
and what happened, the thing is, though, is that his family was whisked away before the rest of them could have been killed. So the Zabi family couldn't take full control, considering that the other members of the family survived. That
Ah,
means I forgot his name. I forgot Char's actual name, but his two children survived and his wife, although his wife eventually does pass away too, but the two children survive.
mhm.
And one of them is Char. And Char has the mindset of revenge. And he intends to kill the Zabi family. That's why he joined the Xeon military in an attempt to get close enough to them so that he could execute them
Mhm.
one by one. Granted, he doesn't get a chance to kill every single one of them in the show, but he does get to kill a couple of them or be involved in their deaths in some form or fashion.
Mhm.
So, and it's good stuff. But yeah, that's dark. That's messed up. This
Yeah,
one's
that's certainly, yeah.
so yeah. When the comment is saying like dark and gritty, and I'm like, is it really? Or is it any more dark and gritty
Yeah,
than?
is this an unusual nadir for the franchise?
No, it's not. Here's another one. Hilda Bidan. Uh, Camille Bidan, the main protagonist of Zeta Gundam's mother. And let's see. And Hilda Bidan has one of the most genuinely shocking and horrifying deaths in any Gundam series. She's put in a capsule and left to drift out in space in order to lure her son Camille out in the mobile suit to rescue her. As Titan Jared Mesa has orders to blow up the capsule if Camille tries to approach it. Though he doesn't know there's a person inside of it. Camille naturally does, prompting Jared to shoot it, leaving Hilda to be sucked into the vacuum of space mere feet from her teenage son. Yeah,
Well, that that'll do it. And also, he now needs all the therapy, but okay.
yeah, this actually is a, and that's not the worst of it. He loses both his parents. His dad is executed as well by the Titans. So he, granted, he doesn't get as worse way to go, and the mother gets it far worse. But yeah, they both
Oof.
die. And that's not the only time that that happens to Camille, where someone very important to him dies, and he gets really upset. He loses the girl that he loves. She's a pawn of the Titans, and she's what is it? What is the term? Not a new type. She's the artificial version, and I drawing a goddamn blank. What the hell? Um, damn it. If only my other friends were here to help, and I can't
And
remember.
I'm too much of a noob at this particular franchise to have internalized that.
Yeah. Anyway, her name is Four. She's manipulated into fighting for the Titans and manipulated in, or basically she's been trained and conditioned to fight. That's
Okay.
cyber new type. That's the word. That's what they normally are. They're people who did not have the ability to be new types, but they've been experimented on to the point where they act similarly.
Okay,
And
so
for
the
and
Deadpool.
four kind of, yeah. But four is a special person to Camille. He falls in love with her. Next thing you know, he has to kill her because she goes freaking postal and
Oh no.
murder. And well, she's put into a mobile suit that, or a mobile armor that basically affects her mental state, called the Psycho Gundam. And yeah, she goes freaking nuclear. I think in Hong Kong, if I remember, she goes freaking
Psycho
berserk.
Gundam is as advertised. Is what you're telling me?
Yep, Psycho Gundam is as advertised. You go psycho if you're inside it.
Uh,
Um, and and Camille has to kill her. Yeah, so dark and gritty, that gets pretty dark and gritty all on its own. Here's another one that I remember quite
feel
from.
really bad for this Camille kid. Like, goddamn.
Oh, it gets worse. Let's see.
Oh,
This is like, you know how I mentioned that Tomino had a depressing period in his time.
uh-huh.
Uh,
What
well,
did he do?
well, no, his depression, I guess, wasn't really apparent, but his issues kind of started in Zeta. He went
Okay,
from
so he had a Frank Miller moment.
where he's killing a bunch of dudes, yeah. Because that's not the only deaths in the show. It gets worse. Nearing the end of the show, an entire ship full of people are killed in the companion ship to the Argama, known as the Radish. And everybody who is there, who have been supporting characters through most of the show, are blown away. Um, which is very sad. Several other people die, villains die, and to add insult to, I mean, even Shar is, well, he's not called Shar, but he is Shar because he survived the 1 Year War and he shows up as Quattro Bagina, another alias for himself. He's pronounced dead. He's not. He's alive. He just, nobody found him after him and Haman have a little tussle. Um,
Ah,
spurned lovers and all that because she is not a happy camper because he left her.
mm,
Um, Char
well,
has that issue actually with women. What was the other? Yeah, I'm trying to remember deaths, but Camille. The worst thing to happen to Camille is at the very end when he fights the Titans leader Shirako, and since they're both new types, Camille literally, after all the pain and suffering he's endured so far to this point, he literally takes the Zeta Gundam and literally pierces Shirako's cockpit with it, with as much force as possible and, you know, new type energy that he had.
mhm.
Um, and Shirako's like, well, no, I'm not going to go down like a bitch and I'm going to take your ass with me. So he gives off, I guess you could say, one last psychic attack, one
Mhm.
final one, and basically turns Camille into a vegetable. So by the time Double
Damn.
Zeta, yeah, so by the time Double Zeta happens, Camille is a vegetable, and he doesn't really talk much. He can't. I mean, he can walk and move around, but it takes him a while before he recovers.
He's
And I
psychically lobotomized, basically.
pretty much, yeah. So yeah, Gundam and Tomino got even worse when he got in. Well, let's see. With Double Zeta, he kind of lightened up a bit, and he pulled back on the dark, gritty, murder everybody. type thing that he was doing.
Everyone dies the Vegeta method.
But then the mentality to murder happened again
Oh
when he
no.
made Victory Gundam. And in Victory Gundam, that has the highest kill count currently of any Gundam series that I am aware of, where so many important characters die just in the span of only, well, I think that had like 50 episodes, but yeah, a lot of people die. Way, way too many. And what's even worse
Well,
about that, the main protagonist in that is even younger than Amuro was. He's only like 13. Amuro was 15. So that's traumatizing.
so what
And
you're telling me is the Gundam universe just needs all the therapy?
yeah, therapy is important. But oh yeah, this is a death that actually I don't know if I would consider it sad, but I did really enjoy it. Is the death of Ramba Rawl. This article says is painted as one of the few people in the Xeon military who has honor. Yeah, he's one of the few ones who's like old guard style soldier of having honor and discipline. He rejects Zabi's leadership and fights for his colony out of sense of duty. Yep. And he never follows orders that he thinks are unjust or generally not the right thing to do. Yep, and he does it. Yeah, and Rambaro has a, when him and Amuro are fighting for several episodes, you get the sense that he's an honorable man. Amuro even gets to meet him in person along with his lady called, what was it? Haman or Haman. And they have a bit of a rapport, and Haman, she actually offers Amuro food because he had went AWOL, and he's not with White Base. And yeah, they have this pretty good relationship and a good battle a few times. This article gets it wrong. Amuro does not kill him. He beats him, but he doesn't kill him. But basically, it was supposed to humanize the Xeon faction, and Ramba Rawl's death is kind of a signifier of not all of them are murderous psychopaths. There's actually good people there. They're just kind of have to do what they're doing because they
Yeah.
don't really know what else to do.
Good person in a very, very bad situation.
Yeah. But the way that Ramba kills himself is he had invaded White Base and he was trying to sabotage it because he loves guerrilla tactics because he's a guerrilla fighter. He kind of ends up being chased down by the crew of White Base, and his best course of action is to escape, but he doesn't want to be captured, so he kills himself by detonating a grenade in his hand, I think, or some sort of bomb. And he mainly did that because he saw the character Sayla, and he's like, I remember you. It's like, you're the princess. And he was basically Char's sister, Char's little sister. And he's like, oh, you're still alive. And he's like, I'm happy that I got to see you one last time before I had to go. Pretty sad death. Pretty cool death. Uh-oh. Degwen Zabi. Degwen Zabi's death isn't that bad. That's number 1. That's not really shocking. Degwen is killed by his son. Giran killed him. But what is it?
Was it really like graphic or something though?
What was Degwen's death graphic? No, his son just put a bullet in his head.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
Given that some of the previous entries on this list included being sucked out to space by your own son by accident, that I like, not that bullets are not a bad way to go at all, but like,
oh wait, no, he didn't put a bullet in him. I forgot. No, he didn't put a bullet in him. No, what he did was actually his father was Degwen was planning to have a treaty with the Earth Federation. He was about to
Mhm.
do it. He went in his spaceship to meet with General Revel, the leader of the Earth Federation's military, or one of their head military guys.
Mhm.
And they were going to have a conference. And Girin activated a solar ray weapon that shoots a laser of heated, a high concentrated heated laser, and blew
Mhm.
away that portion of the fleet along with their father.
Mhm.
And yes, he knew what he was doing. He was not hesitant in doing so because he was noticing his father was, as he would probably describe it, being weak and not willing to, do what was necessary to fight the Earth Federation.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I mean, Char gets a fun chance to kill a couple of them too. He killed, or well, yeah, Cassilia, the sister, killed Girin because finding out what he did to the father. Because it's like, well, it's your father, you asshole. Why would you do that?
Mhm.
And then Char kills Cassilia by shooting a rocket launcher into the cockpit of her escaping ship.
Mhm.
The basically probably my favorite member of the zombie family, which is Dozel, he just dies like a badass. So he goes out
Mhm.
fighting, which is pretty cool
Neat.
because he had this huge giant mobile armor called Big Zam, and he fought with Amuro and the White Base crew. And the Big Zam got damaged by another pilot actually kamikazeing himself into it by the name of
Mhm.
Slager. And that ended, not only ended him, but it ended Dozel because he had to get out of the Big Zam
Mhm.
and he had nowhere else to go. And he's like, I am not afraid of death. I'm willing to fight you, Gundam, by standing outside the cockpit and shooting a machine gun. Because that's
Well,
gonna work.
all right. Well, I mean, it's a ultimately futile gesture and all, but
Yep.
still ballsy
So,
as hell. So,
well,
yeah.
I mean, he was a big burly dude. He was a man's man. Basically, is how I would describe him. Um, F-15.
Because I mean, when all else fails and you have nothing left, you can at least go out like badass. So,
Yep, and it's pretty awesome when he does. And it's probably the one of the saddest deaths for the zombie family because he was the only one that still had a kid.
hmm.
Because all the other ones didn't really seem to have like children or were married.
Hmm.
But he was married and he had a kid. He had a little baby that
Hmm.
was growing up, and he's like told his wife and all the people on the base to evacuate while he went down with the ship. Basically,
Hmm.
he's like, "You take our daughter and you raise her well." And all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's touching. He's a big,
Hmm.
scary looking dude, but he's just a big teddy bear.
Aw, it's always
It's
nice
actually,
when they're like that.
yeah, he's quite the guy. And you eventually will get, and you do eventually get to see the daughter again, eventually over time. She shows up
Hmm.
in Zeta, and I think in Double Zeta too at a time, but I don't remember because I haven't
Hmm.
fully watched Double Zeta. And
Hmm.
then she's in Unicorn because she's a full grown teenager by that point, which was kind of cool to see.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, characters die a lot in Gundam. Keep in mind that most of this was from Tomino's time period, so yeah. This is mostly Tomino's work I'm referring to. I'm not referring to any of the other Gundam series that have character deaths that are important or relevant.
Uh-huh.
One of the other highlights, I think, from that article that I'm remembering is that Tomino's female characters are both interesting and utilized pretty poorly. I don't agree with this. um,
Hmm.
uh, let's see. Because, like, Gigi seems to have motivations of her own, being the sugar baby of a particular count who doesn't want anyone to touch her. Regardless, she's pretty much spends the whole movie flirting with Hathaway, not just with Hathaway. Um,
Hmm.
says he wants no, and yeah, and says that he wants nothing to do with her. Yeah, and that's his own hang up. It's like the writer does mention because of his own baggage. But I don't agree that Tomino writes female characters poorly. I don't agree with that notion at all. Um,
Hmm.
in my personal opinion, he does a relatively well job. It depends on what character we're referring to, but I don't think he does that bad of a job of having good, strong female characters. He has his moments maybe where he kind of screws up and doesn't do a very good job, but plenty of good female characters in the Gundam series. I pointed out and mentioned in my tweet about when I was reading these portions of the article, I'm like, at least he did a better job than the person from Gundam Seed did. Because those guys did some pretty crappy things with female characters.
Hmm.
I don't think all of it was intentional, but it's still some of it wasn't very great.
Hmm.
I especially feel bad for my favorite female character in that show by the name of Kigali. I feel bad for her because she was treated like trash, especially by the time the second series happened. Once Gundam Seed Destiny happened, all bets were off, and she was treated as just a plaything to throw around every which way.
Uh-huh.
You
As
know,
you do.
let her be forced into a marriage. Why? No reason, really. Just do it because we can.
Okay.
That's one of my major gripes with it.
Uh-huh.
Um, there are other things that are a problem with it, but basically, both her and the character of Athrun go through the same character development that they went through in the first one, so they get to repeat their history all over again, which was stupid.
Hmm.
Hmm. Oh wait, that was another article. This one was probably way more. Um, yeah, there we go. Yeah, AV Club, Gundam Hathaway. Yeah, this one. This was from a website called AV Club,
Ah.
and the article is titled, "Oh, what the hell." Mobile Suit Gundam's Hathaway reckons with the privilege of being the protagonist. And like, okay, weird title. Hello, Kitty.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. What am I doing here? Need to actually get back to building a bit here.
Hmm.
Oh wait, is that where it goes? Oh, that's the problem. I think I'm looking at my model kit here and trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And I think I may have found the issue. Maybe.
Yay.
If I can get it to work.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I can because yay for weird design mechanics.
Yay.
Why do I have to do it from that direction? Why couldn't I have done it from the other way? Can I do it the other way? Because that would be a heckin' a lot easier. Okay, no, I can't do it from that way. Why? What the? What the what? I'm trying to figure this thing out, and it's not cooperating with me at all, and it's bugging me. Okay. Actually, let me read part of this Okay, talking about COVID. Mobile Suit Gundam anime is fairly direct sequel to the extremely lore heavy Shar's Counterattack, also on Netflix now. Thank you for the plug. Surprisingly, little of that matters. That was like the start of this whole kit and caboodle, was saying like little of it matters, saying you don't really need to know much about Char Aznable. Because the only shot of him in a dramatic military uniform making a speech tells you exactly the kind of guy he was. And I'm all like, no. You kind of do need it. You kind of need to get to know get to know him better than just by a picture of him.
Mhm.
It's like, oh yeah, this picture is all the information that we need. Don't need to do anything more than that. No other research is required. And
Um,
I'm calling shenanigans
it,
because yeah.
it's the usual tactic of journalists who are reporting on something that they don't actually know about. It's just be snarky and dismissive about every little thing.
Yep. Let's see what else is it. Because he's referring to an image of Char. Maybe I can Char's counterattack. Let's see if I can find the image. Yeah. Okay, that's the image. Um, Let me show it. I'll show it on screen. That'll make this actually a lot easier. Share
Hmm.
screen. Da, 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 select the window. Do 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 do. Okay, so here, this image. This is the
Uh
image
huh.
that's shown in Gundam Hathaway. And it's like, and this guy's saying that this image right here is all we need to understand who Char is.
You just spent like 20 minutes explaining to me who this character was. Like, how did we get any of that information from that
just
picture?
this one picture of him in a military outfit. This is his grand speech from Char's counterattack, where he's, proclaiming to the world that he's going to drop a freaking meteor on the planet and
Like,
saying that humanity needs to be punished or something to that akin to that.
what is the writer's actual like argument as to why this image contains all of the necessary information on this character?
I think he's implying that Char is an N word, the dictatorish kind.
The, but hmm?
That's what I think that's what he's trying to imply without directly saying it. That's how I read it anyway. I'm like, is that what you're implying? Are you implying that,
Or are
oh,
you
look
just
at him in
going
this?
or are you just going he's a military leader that automatically makes him an asshole because reasons are
It's like not like he might have any actual motivation or reasons for what he does or anything of that nature. He just bad guy cuz military.
this seems very much in the vein of a usual like entertainment journalist argument. So yeah, that probably is it.
Yeah, cuz it's like this is not all of his character.
It's not
Now,
even like a percentage of his character. It's just an image
nope.
of him. Like I don't what like sometimes you can genuinely tell a lot about a character from like how their character design, and you can get a lot of a character from just how they hold themselves in a still image and everything.
Yeah.
But you just spent like 20 minutes explaining to me who this character was and all of the like Game of Thrones, but in space esque intricacies of his backstory and all this. And if you had told me none of that, I could not gather any of that from this image.
Yeah. I mean, if this was the only thing you knew about the character, what could you gather from that image?
Um, the way his like arms are spread and he's flamboyantly dressed and everything would make me think that he was a little bit of a showboat. But other than that, I can't really, like he, he might be a little bit of a he might be a little bit foppish would be where I would go with it, but I
But yeah,
don't think that accurately fits the character, so I don't.
yeah, basically he's just wearing a very fancy military outfit is all he's doing. He's basically reclaiming his rightful place as the heir to his father's legacy. And I mean, the character has gotten kind of confusing. He's gone through so many different things. He fought in the 1 Year War to get revenge for the death of his father. And in Zeta, he's going through different personal conflicts of trying to change and reform himself to be a better man and actually help the space colonies in a way that Xeon never could, but also at the same time hiding who he is for most of the show. And then Char's counterattack, he kind of just does a 180 and says, "You know what? The Earth is doomed. I'm done. Time to drop not even a colony. We're gonna just drop an entire asteroid on the planet because Earth's future is in space."
But what?
His character is a bit complicated in that regard. I don't know why Tomino kind of made him do a 180 that way. Maybe I think it was done mainly because the higher ups wanted Char and Amuro to have one final fight or one final conflict. Because by the time Zeta ended, they were on good speaking terms and they were they were allies at the very least. They weren't enemies anymore. But
relapse.
What?
Relapse.
Yeah, I guess you could call it a bit of a relapse. He's like, nope, I want to be the bad guy again. Kind of.
But I like destroying the world. It's so much fun.
Yep, kind of. But yeah, that's
just like, okay, but no.
But yeah, that's what that started, and then yeah, it says you also don't need to know why most of the movie takes place in Southeast Asia and why there's a big hole in Australia. Context kind of matters.
Yeah, if this is like a big wrap up sequel to a bunch of different things, then yeah, you kind of need some knowledge of this other. Like, imagine watching Avengers: Infinity War before any of the other Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And not knowing who those characters are, you'd be a little bit confused. Even if you've read the comics, you'd probably still be a little bit confused. But you know.
Yeah. I mean, do you know why there's a big hole in Australia? I'd like to know if this writer even knows why there's a big goddamn hole in Australia. I know why.
Okay, so why is there a big fuck off hole in the middle of Australia?
Because Xeon dropped a colony on the Earth to attack it. They dropped a whole goddamn cylindrical colony.
In the middle of Australia.
That's where it landed.
Okay.
Let's see.
So he wasn't he wasn't aiming at Australia going, fuck you guys in particular, though.
Let's see. Yeah, Gundam colony drop. It was known as Operation British. Can I actually see the clip of the colony drop? Actually, that's the... or at least see a picture of it. That would be good. Because it crashed into Sydney. And you could
because I was gonna say if I were a space dictator and I wanted to do like the massive amount of damage to the Earth, I'd drop it in the middle of the ocean so there's fucking tsunamis and shit.
Yeah. Well, the point was that Xeon was fighting for their independence at the time. So they were trying to send a message that they were strong enough to fight the Earth Federation and that they were willing to go to any lengths to gain their independence.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't like I get it from like a symbolic perspective, but it doesn't really make any sense from like a tactical point of view because you're gonna do enough damage to piss everyone the fuck off anyway.
Yeah.
So why not at least make your opening salvo something substantive that's going to like make your enemy weaker?
Mm. Well, I don't know if that. I don't think the Earth Federation had a strong presence in Australia that I know of, and their
Okay,
main
so
base of
that doesn't even make sense then. Like why?
because this is what actually started the war conflict to begin with was Operation British, because there was already small skirmishes happening, and then Xeon's like, "Oh, we want the Earth Federation to take us seriously, and that we mean business." I believe is what they were going for, and it's like Operation British. So the thing is, though, that this isn't an abandoned colony. This is a colony full of people. So the Xeon took control of this colony, killed the civilians inside with a gas attack, and then and then shifted the colony's orbit back to Earth, so it could land and do the most damage.
This is the single stupidest plan I think I've ever heard.
I don't know. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see what we can read. Operation executed by the Principality of Xeon during the 1 week battle of the 1 year war in UC 0079. This mission involved dropping a colony on the Earth Federation Forces base or Forces Jabro base. Okay, so the plan was to hit their main base, but it got knocked off course. The colony failed to hit its target, but its destruction still resulted in the death of billions of people. The incident was one of the key factors of the signing of the Antarctic Treaty. Let's see. I forgot. The main goal was to hit Jabro, which is Federation's
that makes more sense then. If it's just a failed attempt to do the most possible damage, then that makes more like military sense. I'm gonna be right back. My cat wants out, and she's been bitching at me for like 20 minutes.
No, you're fine. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. We need to do some more building stuff, actually. Let's see what we got here. J. We need the J. Oh, here's J. Lots of J. J 9, 10, and 5, and 6. Okay. Okay, which ones should we get first? J9. Aha! There's J9. Oh, is this the hand? Are these your hands, Infinite Justice? Your hands of justice!
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. But yeah, let's go back. Let me get back to no, not the image. Shortly after declaring war on the Earth Federation, the Xeon Armed Forces moved a depopulated colony off of Side 2 to drop it on the Earth Federation's Jabro base, which had withstood all attacks, even those of nuclear weapons. The Federation managed to divert the colony from Jabro, but still plunged into Earth. The colony started to break up, but the massive central cylinder hit Sydney, Australia, causing a massive explosion that obliterated the city and a large portion of the continent around it. Yeah. So yeah, that's Operation British. Although it doesn't mention the whole.
I can imagine being very cross with this if I was Australian. Like, what the fuck did we do?
Side 2 is called Hatat. It is located at L4. It is one of the first sides attacked by Xeon during the 1 year war. Island Ifish, the colony that was dropped during Operation British, was taken from Side 2. Later, this side adopted the name Zakar Empire. Side 2, home of Amelia, Macedonia Blue 3. This is a bunch of other stuff that's related to Gundam. But doesn't mention the fact that they gassed the colony. In order to take control of it, is Xeon gassed the colony.
This also seems like a waste of resources, time, and like extremity.
Well, I think they did it because they didn't want people to fight back when they did it. I mean,
Okay, but aren't there like empty abandoned colonies they could have used?
there is the potential for that, but oh wait, no. Okay, so oh, let's see. Side one, Lagrange 0.5. Well, no, this is the reason why. Okay, side three is located behind the moon.
Hmm.
And this is where Xeon is. This is its
Okay.
closest point. This is the group of colonies that hold the Principality of Xeon and all its forces, or the bulk of its forces.
Hmm.
Side 2 is the closest to them. And it's an Earth Federation colony. That's why they attacked Side 2. They didn't want to use their own colonies, and they wanted a colony that was still able to be moved. If it was a decommissioned colony, it might not move at all. It would probably take a lot of time and money to get it to move. So they obviously took a colony from side 2 because it was the closest to them and it was a target, something that they may have had to deal with in the future anyway.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
So strategically, it kind of makes sense that they would gas that colony and use it as a weapon to attack Earth. Yeah, because look, there's side 1. There's a little map here. Side 1, side 3, and side 2. Side 1 is also pretty fair distance, I guess you could say. They could have probably taken a colony from side 1, but I guess they took side 2 maybe because it was also the least defended at the time. It may not have had as strong of an Earth Federation presence, so it made it easier to take it.
Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
I mean, I'm guessing here because I don't remember all the details, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
So gassing the colony to prevent resistance, and then just sending it to Earth to try and attack Jabro. So there's that. Anyway, the article again.
Yeah.
It also says, hell, you don't even know what a Gundam is, because once the first one shows up, thoroughly wrecks everything. It's clear that the Hathaway's version of big robots aren't cool friends or toys. They're goddamn nightmares. The first time a Gundam makes an appearance, or are you referring to a mobile suit making an appearance? Because there is a difference. The first mobile suit fight that takes place, it's not a Gundam, it's a mass-produced mobile suit of some kind that looks a bit like a Gyaradoga. But that's semantics. But yes, mobile suits are a nightmare, and this isn't the first time that they've showcased how scary a mobile suit can be, or how large they are in comparison, considering that most of them are a few stories tall and the size of a decently sized skyscraper. They're not to be trifled with. I mean, what was it? One of the other Gundam movies that I remember that I think is a pretty cool movie. It's not perfect, but it's called Gundam F91. A shell casing from a mobile suit kills a civilian woman. That gives you an idea of how big their weaponry is. That's just the shell of a bullet that is large enough to hit a woman in the head and kill her. So, yeah, they're pretty sizable weapons. They don't always show you how big or intimidating they are, but sometimes they do. And when they do, it's pretty awesome. The one thing you do need to know going into this movie is basically common knowledge, because of their wealth or celebrity or just their whiteness, because of course, certain people can get away with anything.
What in the dystopian cyberfuck does whiteness have to do with anything?
Let's see. Hold on. I need to actually get.
I realize I'm getting my information secondhand here, but I strongly suspect that whiteness amounts to precisely but fuck all.
Yeah, and also if we're referring to Hathaway as a character, he's half Japanese.
Yeah, but But remember, Nightwolf, whiteness is a concept. Therefore, the Japanese are airsats white because
Of
reasons.
course. Of course. How foolish of me to forget. How could I forget such a crucial and important element?
Yes, whiteness is a worldview and a value system. Therefore, people who are not and never have been white can totally adopt whiteness. That totally isn't philosophically contradictory and abstract to a point of stupid. Uh,
Well, I did get a kick out of this. The one thing you need, yeah, okay, so whiteness, certain people can get away with anything. Hathaway relegates the sci fi politics and robot action to the background. No, it doesn't. A rare move, even for a series that tries as hard to be about something as Gundam does. What does that even mean?
it
What are you?
means abstract interpretationalism because that's the only value these kind of people can see in things. That's what about something means. It means look at my symbolism, look at my metaphors, look at my meta commentary. Damn it! Mm.
Yeah,
I,
okay.
I am reminded that every entertainment journalist is by default cancer.
Wow. Yep. You're not wrong. But yeah, this to be about something, it is about something. It's about a lot of things. Depends on the Gundam show and what its message is. War is hell is normally the bulk of the main one. War is hell and bad. Children soldiers exist, and normally people who are civilians are thrust into situations where they have to support the military, on it, whether they want to or not. Actually, like giant robots in general, especially ones for Gundam, is an allegory for growing up as a man. That's why most of the Gundam protagonists are boys. It's about growing up and being a man and being responsible. And the mobile suit is a reflection of you being grown up, and how you have to grow into that. Let's see. About something as Gundam does, and that's because the film's real concern is forcing its hero, Hathaway Noah, to recognize the privilege he carries in even getting to be the hero. By the way, just so people don't know, it might be a bit of a spoiler for Dalton, but I've already spoiled so much of Gundam to
I
Dalton
don't
as it
mind.
is.
I don't mind spoilers. I actually kind of find them helpful sometimes. So
Yeah,
go for it.
well, here's the thing. Hathaway is a terrorist.
Okay.
He is not a hero in the strictest sense. He's a bad guy. Um, he is the well, I mean, he's not technically the bad guy. That would be inaccurate. He's fighting against the corruption of the Earth Federation government, but through the lens of the Earth Federation government, he is a terrorist and a villain, or just somebody who is dangerous.
No,
So he's no hero.
for those who might have affiliations with Team Earth,
Yeah.
which speaking as someone currently standing on the Earth, I kind of can empathize with because yay Earth.
Well, he wants to save the Earth in a sense, but his goal is to force people to go back to space. He wants to send the people of Earth to space.
Okay.
Well, because the Earth has been damaged so much by the war, like the colony drop and all the other
There
bloody
is now a great
battles.
fuck off hole in the middle of Australia, and that's kind of a problem, I would imagine.
Yeah, and things like vegetation and other things have been damaged during the conflict. And his idea is to say, people, you need to go to space. Whether you want to or not, you gotta go. That seems to be Hathaway's goal, is to get people to come back to space and to stay in space for a while, let the Earth recover. Let's see. Noah is the son of a major character from Mobile Suit Gundam. It's like, well, how would anybody know that if they don't even need to watch the original Gundam to know that?
Yeah, your foundational premise was All you need to know is picture. And now here you are, flat out contradicting yourself halfway down the article. Imagine my shock, a entertainment journalist who can't make a consistent argument. Who could have guessed? It's inconceivable. So,
I know. It's funny that way, ain't it? But yeah. So Hathaway's not the hero, and he doesn't even purport himself to be one. He genuinely just wants to try and help the Earth, but he knows he's doing vile and horrible things in order to get that to accomplish that goal. Whatever it takes to change the world. But it's not until a key point in the movie that he realizes that he could just give up, go home, and live a particularly cushy life, and nobody would ever notice or care. He reflects on things, but I don't believe that was one of the things he was thinking about. He was thinking about not fighting because the female character of Gigi makes him question whether or not he's doing the right thing to begin with. Because she says that the terrorist, known as Mafty, aka Hathaway, is doing evil things. So, in order to accomplish his goal. So he has to, and obviously he knows that, but he has to struggle with that fact. He has to deal with the fact that, that he has to, the lesser of two evils is what he's fighting with. Let's see. And it's not like nobody would notice if he was gone. I'm pretty sure his dad would notice. If his son decided to just drop off the face of the map and not be seen again, maybe his mom.
That probably would be the case, yeah.
Hathaway, in other words, reckons with privilege in a way that action movies like this really, if ever, do. Yeah, right. Unlike most Gundam heroes, Hathaway isn't a soldier or a good man in a corrupt system. Most of the Gundam protagonists are not soldiers. Amuro was not a soldier. He was a civilian. Heck, half of White Base were civilians. Most of it was operated by freaking civilians. They weren't soldiers until they arrived on Earth and were given clearance to be soldiers.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but in just a couple of conversations with Nightwolf, I am reasonably confident in saying I now know more about Gundam than you, and I haven't even watched the goddamn thing yet. So how exactly is it that you are speaking with any great degree of authority on this topic, or critiquing it again?
That's a good question. This article is funny in that regard. It's like, no, most of the main characters in Gundam are not soldiers. Some
I'm
of
gonna
them
talk
are.
a load of bollocks about a thing I haven't even paid close attention to, and people are gonna take me seriously because I'm a journalist. Derp.
Yep. That seems to be the goal and the objective here. He's a full-on terrorist. Yes, I already mentioned this. Secretly fighting under the name Mafty Nuven Aaron to undermine the global Earth government. His goal is force everyone into space colonies so the Earth can recover from all the damage that people have done to it. Remember the hole in Australia. See? It's important and relevant to actually watch the other stuff to find out how that freaking happened. In the first
you're using stuff from previous iterations in your article wherein you said you didn't need any information from any previous iterations.
Yep. Let's see, where is that?
K10. I'm just like, even outside of Gundam fandom, because I don't really have a dog in this particular fight. It frustrates me when people who are paid to write articles where they argue things for a living don't know the first goddamn thing about how to properly structure an argument.
It's funny as hell. That's for sure. It's always fun. For the first half of the movie, we've meant to take it on faith that he's doing the right thing, that he has the support of the common man and that his father's status as a highly respected military commander and war hero is a burden that complicates his mission. He rarely mentions his dad.
Mhm.
Everybody else around him mentions his dad and what he accomplished during Char's counterattack, because he did get in a mobile suit and he did fight. But he's not a soldier. He was never intended to be a soldier. He was just in love with a girl, and she was in love with Char. So, and she was a little bit young for him. But I mean, come on, it's frickin' Char. The man has the machismo of a god, so he could make any woman probably fall for him if he given him enough time and energy.
I haven't met this character yet, so I can't extend this to. He could probably also do it to men, but I
I
suspect, based on that
mean,
description, that it might be the case for men as well.
I mean, he's a good looking dude. That's basically what I'm just saying.
Mhm.
Char Aznable. Let's see. We can have multiple images of him from multiple different times in his life. I mean, when you see him the first time, you don't really think probably all that much about him because, you know, he's wearing a mask. You don't really see that much of his face, you know, just kind of a dude. You can kind of see a bit of him, you know, kind of, you know, maybe a bit like, look, he's got a pretty nice looking face under the mask, at least what we can see. And blonde hair, you know, not that bad. And then you get into things like when he's in Zeta Gundam. Here we go. Let's look at him in Zeta. Yes, thank you. Or well, this one kind of shows a bit of everything actually. So him in the original, him in Zeta, where you can see a lot more of his face. He is you could tell he is quite the pretty boy. Is it any wonder why women would flock to this? Because it's not like he's bad to look at. Even though he's like got a scar on his face from an injury he sustained before the events of the original Gundam. And then there's him much older from Char's counterattack, where he's even more mature than he was before. So yeah, it's not like Char's a good looking dude, you know.
I mean, he's not doing it for me, but I can definitely see how he does it for most people.
Well, I'm just saying that he's kind of, it's the, relatively handsome.
The anime pretty boy sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But, a bit dark and mysterious because, he's most of the time covering his face. Kind of gives him an air of mystery. Basically, he's the bad boy, the one your mom doesn't want you to.
Yeah.
To be with, basically.
The one that you think, can I save him? That one.
Kind of. But also he's pretty damn charming too, on top of it. He's got a silver tongue, so he can convince people to do what he wants. How do you let's see. How many and here's his actual real name, Casvel Rem Daikun. That's his actual name. Is Casvel. What was it? I'm drawing a blank here. He's had multiple courtships over the course of Gundam. The one that everybody talks about and that everybody knows is his relationship with Lala, who was from the original Gundam, who Amuro also fell in love with, and then she, kicks the bucket. I'm not going to describe it in full detail, but it's why Char and Amuro's relationship is just as bad as it's always been. He had Haman, who was a Zeon nobility. She was into him quite a bit and was so upset that he left her behind and didn't. He never calls. He never writes. That kind of thing. Yeah, she was not too thrilled about that. That's why she wanted to freaking kill him by the time Zeta comes around. It's like, you left me behind. How dare you? I was in love
Mhm.
with you and you left me to rot and wait for you and you never came back. So yeah, he does tend to attract women quite a bit. Um
Mhm.
and that's just a thing. What was the uh oh yeah, we were just talking about the fact that Hathaway has his issues with him fighting in the war and losing a girl that he liked who followed Shar to her death.
Mhm.
Because why not?
Yeah.
His attitude doesn't change. Hathaway's attitude doesn't change. Happens in battle scene or overly dramatic screaming match. Okay. It occurs when a slightly bored Hathaway gets in a cab to sneak away from some overzealous cops called hunters. This is wrong. I'm going to edit this person's article. Hunters. I have a general idea of what they are. He sees some hunters in this Southeast Asian country. I think it's Malaysia, but I can't remember for sure. But who the hunters are. They're not cops. No. They're not even military police.
But I
Hunt
have to make real world comparisons because otherwise I don't have any meta commentary there.
Well, I mean, why would you refer to them as overzealous cops? Because they're not cops and they're not
Bi- bi-
overzealous.
because ACAB, Nightwolf, because ACAB,
Whatever the hell that is, I forgot.
all cops are bastards.
Ah, well, I mean, you could say that for a lot of authority figures, can't you? Um, right?
We, we can't talk about that because that might lead people to question the validity of the government, and we can't ever question the validity of the government because the government tells us so.
Right. But yeah, it's they're not cops. They're a branch of the Earth Federation military. They're out hunting for terrorists. Last time I checked, I don't think the police hunt terrorists. That's normally not their wheelhouse. They hunt criminals.
No, that's usually something more in the jurisdiction of like the FBI and the NSA and the CIA and stuff.
Yeah. They're hunting for terrorists and insurrectionists. Granted, they are evil. I'll give you that. They're bad people because, the Earth Federation government is corrupt in many instances in the Gundam franchise. I'm not going to pretend they aren't because they are.
Mhm.
Um, they have their moments. They are in the original. They are labeled more or less the good guy, but they are corrupt and elites in many instances. So, but the hunters, as far as because here's the thing, they mentioned the hunters, but they don't mention the fact that the hunters are using a mobile suit to patrol the city. I don't think the cops would be given access to military grade weapons. Do you?
Uh, One hopes not, but God only knows, given where we are as a civilization.
But no, you get my point. They wouldn't be
Yeah,
given military grade weaponry if they were just local police or a branch of police.
right.
Uh, that wouldn't happen.
What maybe, but yeah,
I
not.
mean, it's fiction. There is the possibility, but
Mhm.
there's no evidence to support that these guys are cops. They're shown in a brief scene, and they're just shown with you know, like I said, piloting a robot. What the hell? Dang stupid thing. These hands. These Gundam hands are kind of annoying. It's kind of finicky. I don't know if I like that. Well, hopefully we can stabilize you a bit, shall we? How do we do that? Ah! Sorry if I'm distracted by trying to work on the model kit again. Oh, wait, what? Did I put it in backwards? I guess I did. Oops! I put everything in backwards. Because of course I did.
Uh-huh.
I think. Yeah, I think I did. Oops! But, yeah. And gets back to his comically lavish high-rise hotel provided to him by the very government he's planning to destroy. That's because he helped stop a terrorist attack on an airplane. There are people claiming to be Mafti or work for Mafti and his organization. It goes into a conversation with the gentleman. Hold on a second. Let me try to. I want to try and get this freaking hand built. So then I can move on. Ah, Jesus, tits my Christ. Wasn't that fun? Why? What? My hands. They do not wish to work. Maybe I'm tired and need food.
That is a possibility.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I guess I'll just explain this. It says, the driver, the hunters are here are bad, aren't they? It's always like this. I wonder why Mafty doesn't strike back. And Hathaway's response, you're right. They should be taken out with the trash. And the driver, he's too egg-headed, though. He's trying to get everyone up into space, right? That I don't understand. The environment in Davos isn't that polluted. But there's less greenery now, and people can't fish, right? There's enough for everyone on the island to eat. But Mafty's talking about 1,000 years in the future. He must have a lot of time on his hands. I'm too busy making a living to think that far ahead. Too busy? Right. When I'm focused on getting money to pay off some bigwigs so I can get on Earth residency permit, I can't even think about the day after tomorrow. So that's a conversation that he's referring to.
Okay,
But
this is a completely like that conversation is extremely well written.
Yeah. I don't think he's complaining about it, but it's questioning Hathaway's motivations for what he's doing.
Maybe if this the person writing this article could internalize some of that mentality, we wouldn't be having this conversation about this extremely stupid thing.
Perhaps. I'm trying to fix this thing. Is that just not going to work? How that? I'm very confused. Master grade hands are weird. It's the first time I've ever worked with one, and it's a very bizarre process. Hathaway lives in space and is permitted to be on the planet because of special dispensation he received for who his father is. People can go to Earth so long as they have a permit. So long as they have permission to go on the planet, anybody can go to Earth or leave Earth, as long as they have the necessary permits. Or, necessary travel vouchers, probably. And
do you have your Earthling license?
Yeah, basically. And because his cover involves going to Earth to study botany, because his terrorist attack does involve being on Earth. And when he arrives on Earth, he receives what is essentially a limitless credit card with no strings attached. This is true, he does get this, but you don't explain the reason why the government gave it to him. Because, one, the government wanted to question him because he was on a flight to Earth. He stopped a terrorist attack that wasn't planned by him. But more importantly, it wasn't just because of his father, it was because they wanted him to stay so they could question him further. So basically, they may have had some suspicions about him, which he also kind of goes. This article doesn't really explain it that much, but the Hathaway clearly knows, like, hey, I don't want to be here. I don't want to stay. I have things I need to do because I got a rebellion to work on. So yeah, the money is there, but it's given to him basically in an attempt to keep him there. He's been given free reign to do whatever he wants while staying in an excessively extravagant hotel. Yes, like I said, they were accommodating him because they wanted to question him further. And even the people who suspect that he's the real Mafty are willing to look the other way because he's Hathaway freaking know it. No, the people who start suspecting him of being Mafty, which that doesn't happen until near the end of that movie. They're questioning him because obviously, one, he stopped the terrorist attack on the flight, so they need to know as much as possible. It isn't just because he's Hathaway Noah. Hathaway Noah is not a war hero. Okay? Nobody knows who the hell Hathaway is. If anything, they know him because he's the son of Officer Bright Noah and Mirai. That's what he's known for. He's known because his dad is a war hero, not because he's one. He was in one conflict. He piloted a mobile suit for probably less than a day, and that's about it. He didn't stick around. He didn't, stay in the military or anything. So they aren't just like looking the other way. They don't know what his intentions are because he's got a decent cover. Because, like, who would suspect the son of a high-ranking military officer to be a terrorist? Who's heck? Oh no! We're
What
cutting
happened?
out. Scheisen.
Internet problem?
What?
Internet problem?
We had a bit of buffering. Sorry about
that. Okay.
You there, Dalton? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what was? Yep. But yeah, it's complicated. They're not really willing to look the other way. They just don't immediately suspect him of being Mafty.
Yeah.
It's a good cover.
And they're essentially buttering him up because they think
and saying he's a celebrity.
Witness.
He's not. Yeah, they're trying to be nice, basically. They're trying to get in his good graces so that he stays around. So that, I mean, also talk about what was it? The commander of the military also says that he yells at his subordinate who's piloting the Gundam, the Penelope, and says, "Hey, if you don't straighten up and fly right, I'm gonna give it to Hathaway and let him pilot it instead." So basically, they're trying to butter him up. They're trying, in a sense, to see if they can get him to work with them. And in particular, the commander of the military is like, hey, why don't you help me out here? You did some good work. You took down an enemy unit back in the day. And he's like, well, yeah, but I'm not a soldier. Yeah, let's see. It mentions Hathaway unlocking his hotel room and the government giving it to him. Conversation with Gigi, who we met on the trip down in space. Yes. And yes, she's the one who suspects him of being Mafty. He eats a fancy room service dinner and lays in bed, staring at the card of infinite money and reflecting on what the man said to him. Yeah.
Wouldn't anyone do that under these circumstances? Like
it the same way.
If a government with basically infinite resources was like, here's an infinite credit card, go nuts because we might need you later. are we honestly going to sit here and say that none of us would take advantage of that? Especially if we were the sort of person who was trying to undermine such a system, but they were stupid enough to hand us basically
Yeah.
a blank check on a silver
Mm.
platter. Because if I was such an inclined person, I'd blow through their money just to fuck with them at that point. Like thank you for this attempt to ingratiate me. It's not gonna work, but I'm still going to take advantage of it because why not?
Yeah.
It's like you never
Yeah.
interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And if your enemy is so stupid, they gift you infinite resources on a silver platter, make them suffer for it. This is totally legitimate,
And
like
it's not
line
like
of reasoning.
and it's not like he even uses the money to, support his war effort. Even.
Just have some fun with it. Which again, government with basically infinite resources hands you a blank check on a silver platter. Are you not gonna use that?
Yep, you're gonna use it. Hold on a second. The Uh-oh. Oh, there you are. I was wondering where you went, finger. Um,
Mm.
yeah, let's see. The only reason Hathaway has the freedom to think about how mankind should abandon Earth and put together schemes to force the government's hand is because he doesn't have to worry about living day to day like the cab driver does. No. He has this freedom be, because he's the son of a military person. It has nothing to do with the government's handout. I don't think so.
Also, dear writer of this article, you have the freedom to write things like this because you don't have to worry about day to day things. Because
Yeah.
most people who have actual like lives they need to live don't get the luxury of abstract abstractly musing about entertainment like this. So self awareness, self awareness, please. Anywhere?
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Like I can't imagine being someone that's an entertainment journalist for a living, reading that and not going, well, gee, I think I might be lucky because I have this privilege as well. Like for as much as this person is advocating for being aware of your privilege, their own privilege is presented to them in like black and white, and all they can think is, yes, that character is so very privileged, and I am totally not because reasons. It's like consistency is a thing. Please avail yourself of it.
It would be nice. Ah, trying to. I'm so close, and yet so far away. Did I get it? No, I thought I had it. God freaking damn it. All to hell. Oh, I hate that freaking hand. Let's see. His plans involve killing politicians if necessary, but they don't account for how a mandatory immigration from Earth will impact the people who are just scraping by as it is. He's so invested in high minded ideals about what's right and wrong that it doesn't occur to him to consider anything else because that's the role.
Again, you are lecturing a character in a anime about their privilege, and then you have the audacity to prattle on about the difference between high-minded idealism and moral abstraction versus practical concerns.
Yeah.
the,
Uh,
the, like either the character is just like you, in which case you probably shouldn't be shitting on them for it,
mhm.
or the character is not as you've described and you have failed at your job. That is
And,
the rock and hard place that you have to choose from at this point.
uh, I mean, does have Hathaway have to worry about a day to day similar day to day life? No, not really. But maybe it's not the same life as some other people. But his ideals are what's the important crux of this. You know, this movie.
Yeah,
He's trying to.
we're trying to tell a story here.
Yeah, he's
We
trying to,
need things to happen in order so that a story will occur.
destined to serve as the hero of a sci-fi anime. He's not destined for anything. Destiny doesn't really come into play when it comes to Gundam. Normally, it's by random chance.
Yeah,
Not
the
really.
harsh, cruel world, and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
it's more like a harsh reality. Like children being thrust into situations that they shouldn't be in. Because the role, yeah. In the moment, though, he makes a subtle shift away from the stereotypical moral righteousness of an action hero. He's not an action hero to begin with, so that's moot.
Yeah,
Rather than,
you've strawmanned the character and then talked about how the character goes away from your strawman. Well, it was a strawman to begin with.
barreling forward with his plan because the plot demands that it's the right thing to do, he chooses to go through with it because even after recognizing its shortcomings and potential unintended victims, he actually believes that it's the right thing to do.
Well,
Well,
that
freaking
that
duh.
yeah, that's not a the phrase in philosophy would typically be used as a distinction without a difference. He starts believing it is the right thing to do, and he ends believing that it's the right thing to do. That
Well, yeah, well,
it's either completely gone in a circle or no meaningful change has occurred to the character in this instance.
yeah, and here's the funny thing. They mention like his conversation with a cab driver, but that's not the thing that makes him question if he's doing the right thing or not. It's actually a conversation with Gigi, the girl that was kind of mentioned. She mentions that she figured out that he's Mafty, for one, but then she says that Mafty is an evil person, that he's doing the wrong thing, and that, he's committing evil. And that makes him question if he's doing the right thing or not. This girl is affecting him in a way similar to what happened to him in Char's counterattack. He's struggling to decide if his actions are the right thing to do, because it won't just affect, like the cab driver or the
Mm-hmm.
normal people, but it also affects, it's what she has to say about it, and like
Yeah.
is challenging what his ideals are. And it's like, is it the right thing to do? Is it not? Who knows? And yes, and ultimately he decides to go with his plan with, you know with he kind of shirks back, because in order to get him to escape from the Earth Federation, he plans an attack as Mafty to do so. So he
Mm-hmm.
asks his allies to bring out some mobile suits and attack the city. And more importantly, attack the high rise hotel that he's staying at, so that could
Mm-hmm.
cover his escape. But while he's doing this, Gigi is stuck with him this entire time. She's terrified. They're running for their lives, and he doesn't want to abandon her. It makes him question if what he's doing is the right thing. Not only has she questioned it, but he's questioning it himself of whether or not. And keep in mind, this is after his whole thing of looking at the freaking credit card. This is after that,
Mm-hmm.
where he's considering this. It's like, should he abandon her and go because this was the entire plan altogether,
Mm-hmm.
or should he stay with her? And ultimately, he does choose to stay with her for a little bit longer, and then eventually, run away. Um, because he does have a plan and he does have things he needs to do. But let's see.
How much longer is this article anyway?
Actually, it's only got like one more paragraph.
Ah,
Ultimately, Hathaway decides that as long as there's exceptions to the rules, people will try to cheat. I don't think that's what he said. He's an exception to the rule. Not that I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. Because he's the son of a celebrity who gets resources and leeway that the average person wouldn't get. I'm pretty sure that the military would have given what they gave to him, even if he wasn't the celebrity of a or the son of a celebrity. I'm pretty sure that they would have, because
I mean,
hey, they gave,
it probably helped a little bit, but
yeah, but
nevertheless,
they also gave it to Gigi too. So they shared the motel room. So it's like, why is she here? Why is she being questioned or
yeah.
sticking around?
If this was really about my privilege, my connections, this, that, well, that character doesn't have those. So what?
They're saying that, but he knows that being special doesn't actually mean anything. I don't think that that was a part of his character that he talked about. He
I'm guessing
does.
this just
Uh,
doesn't come up mostly.
well, I mean, the people remember how I said that some of the like the commander and a bunch of other characters are saying like, well, he's Hathaway's son. He also participated in Shar's counterattack,
Mm.
and that he did shoot down an enemy unit. Um, but the thing is that his whole thing of not thinking that he's special, he's doing that on purpose. It's intentional. He's trying to cover for the fact that he's mafty.
Mm.
So he's trying to pretend like, oh, I'm nothing special. I'm not that important. I'm just the son of a military hero. There's
He's
nothing.
covering his ass
Yeah, basically,
by
that's what's
means of
going
stealth.
on. He's demeaning himself, making it sound like he's not important, that he's not special.
Who, me? I could never possibly be that ultra important terrorist guy you all are searching for. I'm just a hapless aristocrat doing his hapless aristocrat things.
Yeah, it's like, so he embraces the fact that he's an exception and uses it as a recommit himself to the Mafty persona, effectively burning any bridges to his life as Hathaway. I don't know if that's how it's going to work overall, but he does burn that bridge, technically, joining the rest of his terrorist army on a boat and leaving Gigi in the hands of I love how they were this dangerously ambitious soldier. The captain, the guy who's in charge of the military base. I love how you say that they're leaving Gigi in the hands of this dangerously ambitious soldier. I mean, he's ambitious, sure. Dangerous? I mean, dangerous to Hathaway, yeah. But is he dangerous to Gigi? You make it sound like he's dangerous to Gigi, which he's not. He's been doing nothing but
Unless you're doing the thing again where it's like he's a high-ranking official in the military, therefore he must be authoritarian, overly aggressive, and fascist because reasons.
or maybe it has something to do with him hitting on her a lot. I don't know. I mean, he's just a playboy captain. There's a dozen of them, and I don't really consider him dangerously ambitious. Ambitious, yes. Dangerous, I don't know. Only dangerous to Mafty, because that's who he's after.
And to be fair, he's committing acts of terrorism, so it's kind of
Yeah.
justified that the military would be somewhat dangerous to him.
Yep. Even though she knows he's Mafty and no longer has any incentive to keep his secret now that he's gone, he's not necessarily on a different path than he would have been on if he hadn't met the cab driver. The cab driver doesn't even factor into this. It's one bloody scene, and the driver had nothing to do with his motivations.
But I have to spin a classist narrative, therefore.
Because, like I said, Gigi's the one who discovers him first. Gigi's the one holding on to his secret. And, and them having moments together over the course of the time in the movie. The cab driver barely factors into this.
But Nightwolf, how does all of that factor into my class narrative that I need to insist exists totally for real for reasons?
It doesn't, and you need to live with the fact that you're a hack writer.
Uh-huh.
That's how I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna go with. But he's been forced to weigh his actions against the actual human lives that they might cost and come away more confident that it's the right thing to do and that he's the only one who can do it. Yes, he is this. He understands these things. He's been in war already. He becomes the protagonist not because of destiny or happenstance, but because it's what he chose to do. That's been Hathaway from the very flippin' beginning.
Again, we have this thing where like you take a character, you insist the character is not what the character is, and then backtrack like a motherfucker, coming up with all of this societal woo to explain why, even though you said the character was the opposite of the character is in fact not the opposite of the character and is in fact the character.
Yep.
You created a problem for yourself to fix that did not exist in either direction.
Yep, pretty much. I'm trying to find the pieces that I lost. Well, I'm probably going to end the stream actually because, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say
something.
I've got to plug in my phone, and also I haven't eaten yet today, so I probably should do that at some point because I've got the podcast later with Brainstormer to do.
Yep, but hey, we had fun trashing an article or two. That's fun.
We did, and speaking of things, I will probably be doing with Brainstormer later because that tends to be what we do over there too.
Yep. Well, I mean, it was just a topic to discuss. I got some work done off this thing. We got the head on it now, so that's a thing, and part of the arm is built. Not all of it, which is sad. I was hoping I could get it done, but the hand is a bitch and a half.
Oh.
I'll have to see if I can finish it on my own.
So what you're saying is you need a hand with it?
Ha 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 ha. Funny man. Ha ha. Very clever.
Well, I already used the ahead pun earlier. I couldn't do it twice.
Okay, fair enough. But yep, that's going to be the end of the stream. Thanks everybody who joined, which seems to be only Brandon. But thank you, Brandon, for showing up.
Yeah, hopefully some people will get a kick out of this in the rewatch because it was fun to rant. So, yeah.
Yep, I had fun. I'll probably actually do a video at some point actually talking about the actual movie of Hathaway. But for now, I've got other things to do. I don't know if I'll have time to record it at any given point, but we'll probably do it at some point. Or maybe I'll wait until the whole trilogy of films is out and then fully talk about it. Or
who knows? It really depends on how your schedule goes.
Yep. Or hey, better yet, if Dalton manages to watch all three of the Gundam
movies while we're...
Well, I mean, he could watch all 5 of these movies, and then we could just do a whole stream where we talk about every single movie.
That would be neat, but yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Oh, there seems to be someone here. Hello. Sorry you caught us as we were leaving the stream.
Yep.
But thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
And good night, everybody, or goodbye, or good day, whatever time you're watching this. It's
cheers, guys.
Bye.